Hey nerds, welcome to Jared Bear Reacts. Today, listen, this is not obviously an episode reaction. At the end of each season, we like to recap, and yesterday we finished season 3. So today is the originals season 3 recap that we're gonna do. So if you guys are new here, before I get into the opening spiel, what we do is I recap the entire season. I got little soft recap. I got some major talking points from each of the episodes, kind of like a brief summary for the 22 episodes. Then we go into the Jer Awards, right? We're going to have favorite episode, favorite scene, most heartbreaking scene, funniest scene, favorite kiss, favorite kill, favorite character at this point, even a favorite quote, and may even update you on the season rankings. This is a very emotional season. So before we get into it, if you guys are new here, feel free to subscribe for daily content. If there's a day, there's a reaction. Links in the description box down below. Patreon, Twitch stream, everything in between. Jerry's going to hang out with next to us, not behind the scenes today. All 66 episodes up on Patreon if that is something you have interest in. If not, everything's here on YouTube. So here we go. To get into season 3 of the originals, because it's an emotional one, right? It's a season. All right. Something in my ear. Major point. We start the season with a soft recap, right? Of the previous season. Kind of did my job for me in the opening of this. Some exposition on how things have been since the end of season 2. Elijah's been taking Hope to see her mother on every full moon. Because remember, at this point, Haley is trapped in a wolf body thanks to Klaus. So Elijah's been taking Hope out there to see her mother every full moon, every chance that he gets. Klaus and Elijah still at ends with one another. It's not good. It's not a good brotherly relationship. Marcel's running a fight club in a church now. Remember the old church that Father Keenan had? Yeah, it's Fight Club now. And Cammie's playing therapist for Klaus again. This time it's on her own free will. She knows everything. She's taking notes and helping him out. Cammie and Vincent seem to be a little close, kind of growing with their friendship. Davina is like kind of leading the witches, right at this point. Remember, she's now, after staring into my camera for 3 straight minutes, Davina's now the regent. I was like, reagent's not the word. Davina's now the regent of the witches, but she has some haters, okay? Somebody try to snap her fingers up and shit. With some flashbacks showing us the originals on the run, we get introduced to both Lucen, who is revealed to be the man behind the killings in the city, cutting their face up, and Lady Aurora, okay? Who seems to be in some sort of Buddhist temple in present day, something along those lines. Klaus gets warned of an impending threat from a fortune teller known as the Sire. Elijah's killing people in the swamp who are hunting down the wolves, right? And Davina kidnaps Haley, kind of. So there's these bald dudes hunting down wolves from King's Makers that Elijah's been clapping up. Elijah and Jackson interrogate Lucian about the dead wolves, leading to him getting bitten by Jackson. And as the toxin kicks in, he reveals he has a cure for werewolf venom that is not Klaus's blood. So Lucian showing some little bit of ingenuity, basically, early on in his character. Davina asked Haley to kill Kara, one of the haters, and after she did, she snapped and killed all the witches that attacked her after. They had to burn all the bodies of the witches. Haley literally went berserk. Berserker rage, like Wolverine. It was nutty. Haley confronts Klaus, and as they fight, Klaus stops. He realizes his standpoint, and while they're fighting, or while Haley's yelling at Klaus, he looks over. Hope enters the scene. Haley has a moment where she kind of realizes that she's missed a good chunk of her daughter's life, the early part of her life already. She missed her daughter's first steps. Pain. Haley and Jackson bunk up in an apartment across the street from the Klaus compound, and Freya sees the same vision the fortune teller saw. The Michelsons will fall, one by friend, one by enemy, and, well, one by friend, one by foe, and one by family. I wrote enemy on here because I'm a dipshit. Third episode featured a lot of flashbacks showing the first time the originals learned they could heal or turn somebody. Lucian is the first person turned, knowingly, right? The first person that they ever turned happens to be Lucian Castle. More information about the Sire line war with the introduction of Aya and Tristan, both turned by Elijah, with this impending Sire line war where one Sire line wants to wipe out the other one, knowing that if you kill an original, it'll wipe out that same line, as we saw when Cole died And when Finn died, we saw a bunch of vampires die, including one, I think at one point it was like saving the lives of Damon and them actually inside the Salvatore home, back over on the Vampire Diaries. And there was also some like teasing that maybe it was Tristan was the killer, then it wasn't actually Lucien, but I think it comes out that it was Lucien. Season 3 ends with Lady Aurora en route to New Orleans, right? Every episode for a while ended with her, like her impending arrival to New Orleans, putting more and more emphasis on her character. So as does season 4, as it reveals that she was at the Marcel party, at the party Marcel was invited to. It was an invitation for an initiation into a group called the Strix, led by Elijah. He also told Klaus that whoever comes for you, comes for me. Klaus responded with, whoever comes for me may come through you, which by the end of the season, we actually see that come full circle in that little bar he dropped. They tried to see this weapon that's going to kill the sire lines, and the seer had been poisoned by who? Well, you guessed it. It was Aurora. Aurora confronts Klaus, and we learn that their love history, as she literally broke my man's heart. But it wasn't her that broke his heart. It was technically Elijah, because Elijah had compelled Aurora to say the kind of things she said, as it's the first time compulsion was used. So you can look at it as Klaus is the inventor of turning, and Elijah was the inventor of compulsion. Klaus is also the inventor of healing. It would have been nice if for the first time somebody healed somebody was Rebecca, so we kind of had the main three that each do something for the first time, but still kind of cool. This leads to a huge confrontation between the two, with Elijah saying, if you want to fight, so be it. And the fight was ended off screen, right? The two were drinking together, realizing they need to be together to fight their opposition, as Klaus takes Aurora around the block, having a little bit of a meeting. Rebecca's witch body is now killed. Claire Holt shows up. She's later daggered, and we learn that Lucien and Tristan are trying to get Elijah, Klaus, and Rebecca in the same place to lock them away forever with the sabotage, the Saratoga, whatever that thing was called. Elijah brings up an idea to invite everyone over for Thanksgiving. The War of Words takes place, and we learn Rebecca is in the bottom of an effing ocean. Tristan and Aurora hold the latitude and longitude, one each respectfully. Klaus breaks Tristan's neck with a fucking uppercut to get leverage to get his sister back, causing Aurora to take Cammy as well. As Klaus feels he has the prophecy under control, it's shown that the events of the episode, or at least at dinner, was exactly the way Elijah saw it in the vision. Elijah and Haley try to torture Tristan to no prevail. Klaus stumbles upon Aurora interrogating Cammy, and Klaus uses her emotions to get half the coordinates before reassuring her she means nothing to him. Fucking nothing. Marcel is given a task of staking Elijah to gain rep with the Strix, and he does just that, but doesn't stab him with the weapon that they gave him. He stabs Elijah, kills two people as trying to kill Haley, and heals Freya, who was just stabbed. Marcel proving his loyalty always and forever. See that? Play on words. Marcel kind of playing the double agent as the head of the Strix, doing exactly as Elijah has told him to do. Episode 8 ends with Freya summoning Finn for a little bit of a chat. Elijah gets Rebecca's body, removes its dagger, but we learn Rebecca is basically cursed to become a Ripper, with this little mark on her. Rebecca starts shit with Haley while Freya and all them work to remove the spell, remove this curse, and then they do. Family comes together for Christmas. Marcel has some words with Vincent, ultimately decides that Vincent should be the region of the witches, and Rebecca learns that she has to run again, Klaus opens himself up to love, kisses Cammy, a little bit of a smooch. The episode closes out. Rebecca's curse comes back, and Elijah's forced to dagger her. Cammy kind of awakens in the middle of the night during her and Klaus's little final moment of realizing their love for one another, and she ends up having to take her own life because she was compelled by Aurora to do so. But we also learned that Aurora gave her blood to drink beforehand, giving us vampire Cammy. A lot of people wasn't fans of, I've read so far in the comments, but it is what it is. Cammy in transition, she swears she won't feed, but by the end of the episode, she actually does. In episode 11, we see Cammy's new personality as a vampire. She kind of takes, she kind of gets the one weapon that can kill in original. Come to find out this entire time that little knight that Klaus had carved for Rebecca way back when was made of white oak, and that could actually indeed kill an original. Things go south. Other people learn of this. They come, they kind of ambush Cammy, and Aurora gets the little white knight and gets it made into bullets. A show with so much fantasy leads to bullets. Wild to think about, actually. Um, we have a battle of leader within the Strix, which is one of my favorite moments, maybe ever. And we see Elijah wants to be the lead, but Marcel takes over, and there's the whole fight with Aya as well. At the end of the episode, Marcel is the leader of the Strix thanks to the game. We come to find out that was the plan all along, as Elijah and Marcel worked together for that to play out perfectly. Davina temporarily brings back Cole, and they figure out a way to unlink the vampires from their sires, which, the way that this whole show plays out, this whole season plays out for one specific reason, and unlinking the sires to make things happen that'll be revealed at the end of this recap. They bring Cole back, and come to find out they have to have the heart of an unsired vampire, a.k.a. they're going to use Haley's, but they end up having to use Jackson instead. Episode ends with Aya kind of teaming up with Aurora, who has 2 bullets left. She kind of nicked Elijah, but, Klaus saved his life. So with Aya and Aurora trying to work together, the goal here is to basically do the spell to break the sire lines. And Freya comes and saves the day while they're in kind of like this, the representation magic. And anyways, Freya comes and saves some peeps. There's queens and stuff, and blah, 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 whatever. It was a little too late. Davina finishes the spell on Klaus, unlinking every vampire to him. Did I mention that Stefan's in this episode? One by friend, one by foe, one by family. Freya kind of thinks that Stefan may be foe, or he is a friend, so he could end up taking somebody. But with Stefan there to undo his mark, kind of brings Reyna Cruz into the originals hunting down, and Aya kind of claps her up pretty easily. And Stefan helps to try to save Klaus and Elijah. Klaus's sire line's undone. We see how the effect that it has on Stefan and others. And we have a closing moment with Stefan and Klaus just needs some good night's sleep because all of his things left, Very painful. Sire lines broke. The originals now know vampires will come for Klaus. An old friend by the name of Gaspar Cortez shows up. He's looking for the White Oak. Eventually, Vincent finds it, and Vincent comes in handy. There's 1 bullet left of the White Oak. How this kind of plays out is with them having this, because the episode starts with Vincent having it. He loses it. It comes back to Elijah. Finn's back in his original body. Davina damns him to remain in that original body forever for a reason, because as Elijah goes to destroy the last bit of remaining White Oak in existence, Finn gets it out of the water, or out of the fire, because it can be a moment, if needed, that the originals could use to finish themselves off. And they give it to Freya, who's going to go hide it, cloak herself, basically. She doesn't. Vincent gets it back, kind of under the control of the ancestors, and kind of leads them to Mystic Falls, right? To break this. So while they're in Mystic Falls, they take that White Oak, and the ancestors controlling Vincent, they make some molasses type shit. Just enough for 2 people, eventually 3 people. We don't know what this is, but Elijah and Finn show up with the help of Matt Donovan. Try to stop this. They kill Lucian, who's forcing kind of them to do this. But that's all part of the plan, because Lucian drank this serum, and he is now an advanced hybrid whose bite, because it's infused with the White Oak, can even kill an original. And he bites Finn, and we see the effects of that take effect pretty rapidly, as Finn, who is back, is now no longer with us. And Finn is dead. Finn's dead at this point. His plan, Lucian, is to wipe out the originals, and he gives the other jar of molasses to Aurora. Aurora kind of sneakily tells out loud to Klaus, who they've captured and subdued at this point, that Lucian's no more than a means to an end, breaking his little heart. In this rage, though, Lucian tracks down and he bites Cammy. During all this, Cole is back, kind of affected by the ancestors. Cole can't leave New Orleans because he will die. And if he stays in New Orleans, he has to kill Davina. That's what the ancestors have cursed him with. Tried to be daggered, but the ancestors pulled that out of him. before we get to Cammy, this episode ends with Cole basically feeding on Davina until she dies, right? Cammy's infected, tries to leave a will. Klaus is certain that there's going to be a cure, but there's not. They tried Lucian's blood, like Klaus's, cures werewolves, nothing. Werewolf bites. They tried the blood of Hope, the baby, but nothing. And we witness Cammy, final moments before passing, shattering all the friends and family in the show. And, we lose Cammy. Going back to Cammy, they're looking to res her. Going back to Davina, they're looking to res her because she is a witch. And with the weird hand thing, they bring her back in the circle of black salt. And they're trying to find ways to weaken Lucian. And they find out that they can use Davina because she can be an anchor. She can be the anchor at this point with the ancestors. And they can channel that power of the ancestors to weaken Lucian to kill him. Lucian kind of has Klaus cornered. He has his hand on Haley's heart, ready to kill Haley. I guess. I don't know if that would actually kill her or not. I'm assuming it would. I don't think you could literally rip out Klaus's heart and he'll be fine. You can rip out an original's heart and they'll be fine, right? Only the White Oak. But Haley's not an original. She's just a hybrid. Either decapitation or the heart pulling out would kill her. I just had to remind myself of that. So, while this is going on, Freya has a plan to do this, but it would kill Davina in the process. They don't want to do it. Klaus tells them there's another way. We're not doing that because we would lose both Cole and Marcel. In a last-ditch effort, that's what happens. Davina looks at Marcel, says, I love you. Marcel looks back and says, I love you. He gets interrupted by Elijah. He says, forgive me, Marcellus. They channel. They weaken Lucian. They kill Lucian in a family gathering. And they had done what they thought they would do. They've kind of lost Marcel and Vincent and Cole at this point. Cole eventually comes back around. It is his family after all. Vincent moves the scale, though, in his favor by giving Marcel a little bit of the molasses to make him that same weapon that Lucian was that they just destroyed. He had extracted this from Aurora's heart, who is subdued, by the way. I don't think she's dead. She's just subdued in the fucking Klaus Michelson, or in the House Michelson. So Vincent makes that offer to Marcel. Marcel's debating on taking it. Elijah sees the prophecy from Freya. Marcel looks to be the main villain in this story. Klaus takes Marcel to an old bridge, the same bridge that he crossed when he was a family, leaving back his past, going to his future. He took him there to spread his father's ashes, and Klaus says he saw something that day that he knew he could never do. He let his past pain go. He let his anger go. And he knew Marcel would be his better. And then he reminded Marcel that he's his family. But Marcel doesn't feel that way, and he tells Klaus that he will forever be, from this point forward, his enemy. And Elijah keeps warning Marcel as Elijah shows up, and he keeps trying to stop him. And you see the aggression and the anger and the pain in Elijah, and the worry and the sadness. And as Marcel's making these threats to Klaus, what happens? Elijah walks up, runs up, rips his heart right out from the back of his fucking ribcage. Marcel falls into the lake, dead. Elijah, with tears in his eyes because of his relationship in Marcel's youth and because of Klaus's connection, there was no other way. This is the prophecy. It's what he saw. Klaus, heartbroken, grieving, just lost Cammy, just watched his son die. As Klaus goes to get Hamlet, the same book he used to teach Marcel how to read, as he leaves, Vincent tells Josh he's not dead. He drank the serum the second it gave to him. Killing him triggered him to make him now the advanced hybrid, the one from the prophecy whose bite can kill an original. Marcel awakens from that little river, ocean, fucking creek thing. And Marcel tells Vincent that he will be a different leader. Vincent thinks he'll be different once he kills the Michelsons. He brings all of Klaus's sired lines to Nolans. He bites Cole. He bites Elijah. Haley, in a last-ditch effort, because Freya's been poisoned, undaggers Rebecca to try to talk some sense into Cole, and they come upon an agreement that Klaus's sins must be answered for. And Klaus stands trial for his sins. Rebecca, pretending to go mad, kind of gets everybody riled up to say that Klaus deserves a fate worse than death. He deserves to suffer. And they stab him with the Papatunde knife. But what that does, though, because Freya said Klaus had to stay alive, and Rebecca could hold off, if she could hold off for going mad, a spell is done as Cole and Elijah are dying. The spell is done by Freya to use Klaus as a tether from his life force and to put the other 4 originals into a deep slumber, a deep sleep, like Dahlia used on Freya. All while Haley tries to find a cure. They go into like a little afterlife. Rebecca, Freya, Cole, and Elijah are in this little weird purgatory, prison world almost type deal. Marcel buries Klaus behind a brick wall, just as he did to Aurora. And just as Marcel used to do back in the garden. The bloody crown. Marcel sits atop. Vincent thought he would be different. Vincent buys back the church to make it a sanctuary, basically, for witches, werewolves, and vampires alike. He thought Marcel would be different, but he is no different. He wiped out the whole Strix. The king is dead. There is a new king. The original king that we were introduced to in this season, the king of New Orleans, Marcel, is back with the bloody crown. And this season ends with Haley, with the originals in a fucking U-Haul van. Hope next to her with the letter from Klaus. Klaus told Hope that she is, with all pun intended, their only hope. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And Haley drives away with Hope, and that is season 3 in roughly 23 minutes. Very emotional season, a very tiring season with how heavy it was with these deaths that we'll go over in a minute, especially losing Cammy. Klaus losing Cammy, losing Marcel, and then gaining back Marcel only to him being the one to put him down, basically. He watched his brother get bit. He can't do it without Elijah. They shared a hug. We haven't seen that yet. To wrap this up, for the Jer Awards for Season 3, this is the 11th annual Jer Awards. Episode 11 of the Jer Awards, 8 for 8 seasons of the Vampire Diaries. This is Season 3 of the originals. Let's get in with favorite episode. Here's your nominees. Episode 1, For the Next Millennium. Episode 5, The Axeman's Letter. Episode 8, The Other Girl in New Orleans. Episode 9, Savior. Episode 14, A Streetcar Named Desire. Episode 19, No More Heartbreaks. Or Episode 22, the finale, The Bloody Crown. And the winner is Episode 14, A Streetcar Named Desire, the rescue plan to try to help Klaus and Elijah, the breaking of the sire line and the implementations that has on the rest of the season, the rest of the show, the cameo from Stefan Salvatore, and everything in between. Beautiful episode. Favorite scene, your nominees from episode 2, Haley getting to hold Hope after being a werewolf. Episode 7, the Thanksgiving dinner. Episode 9, the family together on Christmas. Episode 12, the reveal that Elijah and Marcel were working together. A scene that took place in episode 14, all of them, Stefan. Or the Michelsons coming together to kill Lucian in season 3, episode 19. My favorite scene, season 3, episode 12, the reveal that Elijah and Marcel were working together all along. It was Agatha all along. Most heartbreaking scene, your nominees from episode 2, the moment Klaus stopped fighting Haley back when Hope came into the scene and Haley realized that she missed her daughter's first steps. From episode 5, Klaus's heartbreak. From episode 9, Klaus holding Cammy's body. From episode 11, Haley crying while holding Jackson's shirt. From episode 15, Haley tell Elijah that all she has to do is let him go. From episode 17, Finn's death. Episode 19, Cammy's death. Or episode 21, Marcel's fake death. For me, the most heartbreaking scene of this entire season was season 3, episode 19, was Cammy's death. Marcel's death almost got me. If they wouldn't have ruined the end of that episode by showing he was still alive, I think that would have hit worse. But he's back, so Cammy's death. Funniest scene, only have 2 nominees. There was a lot of really funny scenes, but these stuck out. In episode 9, when Rebecca was kind of going crazy, he went to attack Haley. She went to attack Haley, and Klaus said, not her. So she goes to attack Cammy. She goes, not her either, bro. But my funniest moment for this show came in episode 16, when Klaus was wearing the mother trucker hat. And the guy said, we don't serve your kind. And he said, well, perhaps you failed to notice the hat. That's the funniest scene for me. Favorite kiss, only 3 kisses. 3 nominees, right? Episode 6, Klaus and Aurora. Episode 9, Klaus and Cammy. Or episode 21, Elijah and Haley. Listen, I wanted to initially give this to Elijah and Haley. But the moment I waited for with this relationship, with this whole season, a very beautiful moment on Christmas, Klaus and Cammy. That kiss wins best kiss for this season. Favorite kill nominees, episode 1, Elijah killing a wolf by throwing a gun through his chest. Episode 2, Haley killing all those witches. Episode 8, Elijah smacking the head off of little Strix buddy. Episode 11, Aya smacking Buddy's head off. Or episode 14, Elijah jumping out of a pool and snatching that witch to feed on. My favorite kill actually goes to Haley when she snapped and killed all those witches. Runner-up would be Elijah jumping out of that pool. That was pretty wicked. No real crazy deaths, though. Like crazy kills like that. Favorite quote? I have 2. All right, no, sorry, it's just 1. My favorite quote was Klaus saying, I will carry you with me. And Cammy saying, I guess that makes me immortal. Favorite character this season is actually, for the past 2 seasons, has went to Elijah. I'd say my favorite character this entire season was, it's almost a tie between Klaus and Vincent, really. I think every scene Vincent was in was phenomenal, but Klaus definitely his character kind of has hit its full redemption peak about how his whole switch, and I think Klaus for me was my favorite character of this entire season. So as this gets a little bit closer to the 30-minute mark, we'll wrap it up. I think season 3 so far is my favorite season. We'll do a full ranking and stuff in the full recap. For sure, though, I think season 3 is my favorite season, my favorite ending, my favorite everything. So let's wrap up the season 3 recap with our in memoriam, in loving memory of the following people. Starting off with Corporal Q-Ball, the Kingmaker Wolf Hunters, the bystanders Lucian killed after he was turned, all the Buddhists killed by Aurora, Mohinder, Alexis, the Oracle Seer, Klaus's heart when it was broken, Rebecca's witch body, Shin Min, who was a super dope character, by the way, that they gave a bunch of exposition to and just killed, vampires Elijah killed, the 2 vampires Marcel ripped the heart out of, the transition vampire that Cammy killed, and all those other vampires that were awoken, the dude Jackson killed with an axe, Obi Witch, the Obi Witch that Vincent killed, Jackson himself, Tristan at the bottom of the ocean, dying over and over, the dude Aya decapitated, Ariana, the blonde witch that showed up for 1 episode, Madison, the toy knight that Klaus carved for Rebecca, Aya, I'm going to go ahead and say Aurora for now, witches Elijah killed after the pool party, Strix members Elijah and the Haley and Elijah killed, Gaspar Cortez, the girl Cole fed on, 2 dudes Marcel ripped the heart out of again, Andrew Fash, the Kingsman security guards, Professor Pete, the Venom vampire girl, the Strix member Lucian killed, Stephanie and maybe the other apartment neighbors that Cammy has, Cammy, Davina, Lucian, Van Wyn, and the Strix in order. With I'll say it this way, the ones that hurt the most is Aya was a cool character, but Tristan, Camille, Davina, rest in peace. Rest in peace to the full episodes as well. 66 episodes if you guys want to watch uncut or on Patreon. If not, they're all here on YouTube. So this recap tomorrow will be the beginning of season 4. Thank you guys for hanging out so far through 3 seasons. Thank you if you watched the entirety of the recap. Thank you for all the love and support. And can't wait to see you through season 4. So with that in mind, Jerry and I is going to go enjoy the rest of our day. I'll have links and everything in the description box. I'll have playlists up on screen. As always, stay cute, stay hydrated, and I will catch you on the next one.